Okay, now let's get the camera and its properties. So first, we need to define um, the follow camera, get a component, the Cinemachine virtual camera, which is a component of the game object. So we can use get a component. And then the camera third, we it's a it's not a component of game object, so we need to use a get Cinemachine component. So find the Cinemachine third. Now let's define the camera distance. We want the camera distance to be 4 meters at the beginning of the game. And then all other variables will be calculated based on the camera distance. So we need to define a fraction, which is the current camera distance minus the distance minimum divided by the value between the maximum distance and the minimum distance. And then we're going to calculate all other variables. So first, find the field of view. So it's a lens property. So it's a camera underscore CV dot mlens dot field of view. We need to do the interpolation. So between the first person view and the third person view, depending on fraction. Next, we define the shoulder offset, which is vector 3. So we also do the linear interpolation between the first person view and the third person view, use a fraction. And last, we define the damping, and damping is also a vector 3 variable. Here, I want to change it a little bit. I feel the minimum maximum is confusing, so I would like to change the same as like first and third. So the distance minimum becomes the distance underscore first. The distance maximum becomes the distance underscore third. The FOV minimum becomes FOV underscore third. Okay, and FOV underscore max become the FOV underscore first. Okay, now back to the variables. As you can see that all the interpolation is calculated from the first person to the third person view. Okay. Okay, now let's update these variables. So first, I want to use a function called camera zoom, and then I can put everything in this function. And also I want to put a external if condition here that make sure only scrolling value is not equal to 0, and we can do something. So it will only check the change if that means your mouse scrolling either up or down. So if scrolling value larger than 0, that means we're scrolling up. So if current camera distance is larger than the distance of the first person view, that means we want decrease the current camera distance. So current camera distance equal to the camera distance minus the distance step every time we push we scrolling up. Okay, of course, when we achieve the minimum distance, which is distance first, and we let the camera's distance stay in that minimum distance. It won't change anymore. Similar things happen for if we scrolling down. So if the current camera distance less than the third view camera distance, and every time we increase the current camera distance, because we wanted the camera back, right? So every time we add the distance step when we scrolling down, if we achieve the maximum distance, we want we don't want the value to change anymore, so stay at the distance third. Okay, so after all the camera distance are refreshed, we need to change other variables accordingly. So we just copy those 4 lines here. Now let's test it in the play mode. Okay, you can play around. Scrolling up. Okay, now we are in the first person view. Okay, it's pretty good. Scrolling down, back to the third person view, and up and down. And all the variables of a Cinemachine virtual camera you can find, you can monitor them real time on the panel. Okay, now there's a problem here. As you can see that it's walk towards the wall, and you can see through it. Okay, so we need to make some changes. Basically, we can change about this near clip plane, and also the camera radius. Okay, now back to the code. So camera radius equal to 0.2f. Clip plane is the length property. So we change it to the 0.1f. Now back to the play mode. Okay, directly walk toward the wall. Now you can see it won't see through it. You can see your own head because it's running. When it's running and the head toward the front, so you still can see it, but if it's not against the wall, it looks okay. Well, basically we achieved the goal, and make an expansion to transfer from the third person view to the first person view.